Ananjana Chalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Vidyamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vasyatya Deshitarine Anshakalapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. On this very auspicious day of Bhadra Purnima, I am very grateful, very honored, and happy to be with you here in Glastonbury, Hartford, Connecticut. My special gratitude to Pyari Mohanji Prabhu. Somehow or other he pulled me here. Pyari Mohan Prabhu and Jiva Devi, they have been here, I believe, as the longest standing temple president in America. Perhaps in the world. I believe 1981. You personally began this temple in Hartford and have been faithfully, continuously serving Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya's mission ever since. Such dedication is truly an expression of what real dharma and real bhakti is. I recently heard a recording of our beloved Guru Srila Prabhupada, and he was expressing how deeply valuable and appreciated it is to have someone who's assisting you who you could really trust. And Pyari Mohan Prabhu and Jiva Devi are two devotees that whoever really knows them deeply trusts them because they just have no ulterior motives. They're just trying to do the best that they can in the service of the Lord. So when Pyari Mohan Prabhu invites me, however much I struggle to resist, I have to come here. Thank you so very much. Very grateful. Yesterday, actually Braj Mohan Prabhu was supposed to give class today, but he's so humble and so empowered in his own ways of presenting pure devotional service to the world. But he asked me to speak as his substitute. And coming up the stairs a few minutes ago, I asked him, it's supposed to be your class, so what would you like me to speak on? And of course, he gave the standard answer, whatever you want to speak on. And then he said, yesterday was the disappearance day of Haridas Thakur. Actually, the last several days, so many holy occasions. Vamana Dwadasi, the appearance day of the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, the one God of all the spiritual and material worlds. He descended in this world in the form of a little dwarf named Vamanadeva. And such a beautiful pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam it explains. And the next day was the appearance day of one of the greatest saints or acharyas throughout history, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Thakur Bhakti Vinod, he was a saint who exhibited to the world for all time to come how by performing our duties and raising a family in Krishna consciousness, one could change the world. He married a very great saintly lady named Bhagavati, and they lived in Bengal, in India. In the middle part of the 19th century, he was born, during the British regime of India. Bhakti Vinod Thakur had 10 children. And he had a job as a High Court Justice in the British court system. And he was so exemplary and so respected in every way. Professionally, socially, as a most kind and loving human being, and transcendentally. To this day, he's still inspiring millions and millions of people in love of God. He wrote dozens of books, hundreds and hundreds of songs. In fact, just this year, one of the greatest blessings that I have seen in my life has taken place. Our International Society for Krishna Consciousness, devotees very close to us, have been given the care of Bhakti Vinod Thakur's house. In Calcutta. He built that house himself. Not with his own hands, but he got the land, he designed it, and he oversaw the construction. It's a large house, right in the heart of Calcutta. And in that house, he established his first printing press. He lived there. He raised his whole family there. He had some other houses for business purposes and preaching purposes, but this was his base. While he was stationed in Jagannath Puri, he was praying to Lord Chaitanya, and please send one of your own personal associates to help to spread this mission of prema bhakti, love of God in this world, this very troubled world. And his prayer was fulfilled. Born from Bhagavati and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, who was then named Dimala Prasad. And most of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's childhood, he grew up in his house, Bhakti Bhavan in Calcutta. And the original Kurma Shila is still there, a Shalagram Shila that Bhaktivinoda Thakur discovered when he was breaking the ground of that house. And he gave that deity of Kurma in the Shila form to his son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to worship when he was very small. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur's guru, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he was living at Surya Kund in Vrindavan, and he would come to Mayapur and spend time in Mayapur, between Vrindavan and Mayapur. And on the way, he always stopped to stay at Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. So even today, it's there. If you go to Calcutta, is the Bhajan Kutir of Jagannath Das Babaji. And one year he brought a Govardhan Shila as a gift to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That Govardhan Shila is still there in the temple room of that house. And so many others. It's like the house was in very ill repair, but the family gave it to our devotees. And they're now doing a marathon to renovate it. And it's like an excavation because they keep finding incredible artifacts and sacred property of Bhakti Vinod. From that house, Thakur Bhakti Vinod wrote a book, Sri Chaitanya, His Life and Teachings. And he wrote it in English. He wrote books in Sanskrit, in Bengali. But he wrote this book in English. And from Bhakti Bhavan in Calcutta, he sent it to universities in various parts of the world. He sent to McGill University in Montreal and places in London and Australia. And we just recently discovered, along with the book, he sent a letter for correspondence. And it was written from Bhakti Bhavan in Calcutta. It was written there, it was published there, and it was sent from there. And our own beloved Guru, Srila Prabhupada, very often he said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur first sent the message of Lord Chaitanya outside of India in 1896 in that book. And Srila Prabhupada was born in 1896. So he made that connection because he was born to fulfill that purpose, to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya, of pure Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So the history of Bhakti Bhavan is incredible. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was, for decades, he would be meeting scholars, social activists, heads of government, simple villagers. He would meet them in the Bhakti Bhavan. And his bed is still there, the bed where he left his body from Bhakti Bhavan. And his good wife Bhagavati also left her body there. So this place for all of us. And just a few days ago was his appearance day, so we're remembering Bhaktivinoda Thakur with such gratitude. In every ISKCON temple throughout the world, and thousands of temples in India, every day the songs, the prayers of Bhaktivinoda are sung. Yes, he taught one can be a fully enlightened saint, even performing one's duties in this world and raising a family. And the next day, the disappearance day of Srila Haridas Thakur. Lord Chaitanya Radha Bhavatuti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. He's declared in the Vedic literatures to be the Supreme Lord, Krishna himself incarnate. Krishna with the Mahabhav, the love and the complexion of Sri Radha. Lord Chaitanya is described by Srila Prabhupada in a very special way. Our Guru Srila Prabhupada, before coming to the West, he wanted to translate the essence, the culmination of all the Vedic literatures to present to us, the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's 12 cantos or 12 books, and he wanted to complete the first canto in 3 volumes before coming to America. And it's very interesting because Lord Chaitanya, in his introduction, before the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada writes a brief summary of the life of Lord Chaitanya. Because he said Lord Chaitanya, his life and teachings personified the Srimad Bhagavatam. In regard to Haridas Thakur, how Lord Chaitanya loved him on his disappearance day. Lord Chaitanya was crying to lose a devotee like when Haridas Thakur departed from the world. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proclaimed that I am a prisoner of the love of a devotee like Haridas Thakur. He said all the wealth, all the riches, all the opulence of the entire universe does not compare in my heart to the value of one devotee like Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was declared by Lord Chaitanya to be the Nam Acharya. That means the Guru, who for all time to come is the exemplary teacher of how to chant the holy names of God. Kali Kali Namarube Krishna Avatar. In this age of Kali, Krishna, God, descends within the sound vibration of the holy names. It is the Yuga Dharma. The Kali Santarana Upanishad explains that this Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Premadana Harinam Sankirtan. This process of chanting the names of God is descending from the spiritual world of Goloka, the highest realm of spiritual world. It is the most powerful and the most accessible of all processes of Dharma or religion, meditation in this age. This is declared in the scriptures. Hadranama, Hadranama, Hadranameva Kevalam, Kalonas Deva Nasteva Nasteva Gatiranyata. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially descended to teach this chanting of the holy names. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. He described the supreme auspiciousness, the prime benediction for all humanity is the chanting of God's names. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. And the Supreme Lord has many names. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not in any way sectarian. He accepted the authentic holy names of all the true religions of the world to be names of God. Lord Chaitanya selected Haridas to be the Acharya. And at that time, 5 centuries back, this was revolutionary. Because Haridas Thakur, by social interpretation, he was an outcast. He was considered a Malacha, a Yavana. He was considered a person who was, by the caste society, not allowed to come into a temple, a Hindu temple. He was considered sinful and low just by his birth. Why would Lord Chaitanya give the most important position of all positions spiritually to him? Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to break through these conceptions based on bodily concept. The very basis of Bhagavad Gita, the foundation in which all the teachings are built upon, is you are not this body. Dehinosmin yata dehi, najayate mriyate vakadachyate. The soul is eternal, beyond birth, beyond death. This body is always changing. The non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress that will always come upon the body. But the soul is a part of God. According to our karmas from previous lives, we get a particular body. Vasamsi Janani Yathavihaya. Gita describes it's like a set of clothes. And the mind is like a subtle set of clothes. But we are the eternal soul. And wherever there's a soul who's living with the character of a Vaishnava or a saintly person, that person should be honored as a saintly person. We are neither black or white or brown or yellow. We are neither male or religion of the soul. There are so many isms. We could change our religions, the external religions. But actually the essence of all of these religions is to bring us to Jaiva Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, the nature of the soul. Prema Pumarthaman, the highest potential of every soul, the innermost essence of who we are, is to realize that I am an eternal part of God. Mamai Vamso Jivaloke. Jiva Goswami describes like a sun ray has the same quality as the sun planet, but in minute proportion. The sun gives heat and light, and the sun ray gives heat and light. The sun ray is always an emanation of the sun planet. The sun planet is never emanating from a sun ray. In this way, the soul is pure and eternal, but always subordinate to the Supreme Soul. And the greatest potential is to love God, and to integrate that love in everything we do, in everything we think, in all that we speak. That is Jaiva Dharma. That is the duty, the nature, and the religion of the soul. To live in the light of God's love. In this age of Kali Yuga, this most powerful, accessible way of awakening that love from within our heart is Nam Kirtan, the chanting of the holy names. So Lord Chaitanya, to give great emphasis on the power of this chanting and on the truth the nature of the soul beyond the bodily concept. He chose. And coming to Lord Chaitanya were among the greatest saints and sages and avatars that this world has ever seen. Still, Haridas Thakur became the Namacharya. When he was living in Shantipur with Advaitacharya close by, the two of them seeing into the future of this age and seeing the current events of so much conflict, so much greed, arrogance, envy, so much pollution, so much degradation and exploitation in the world. They saw it then, and they saw what was going to come into what we're living today and the future. And they were praying for Krishna to come to establish this Kirtan movement. It is fascinating. Advaitacharya was the leader of the whole community of Brahmins. And Haridas Thakur was an outcast. Yet they were best of friends. Lord Chaitanya to descend into this world. Among ordinary people, Haridas Thakur, there are so many biographies and descriptions, Chaitanya Bhagavad, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other such scriptures. Most stories about Haridas was how he was being persecuted because of his low caste and his compassion and his humility. People were always trying to condemn him and take advantage of him. Stories of trying to ruin him, imprison him, torture him, kill him, blaspheme him again and again. Even when he was being beaten to death by brutal executioners, Haridas was just chanting the holy names and praying to Krishna, please forgive them and give them bhakti, give them your mercy. And they just couldn't kill him. He was like, he is compared to Prahlad, because he was always seeking shelter of the Lord's mercy. Lord Chaitanya taught him special verse, which is foundational to actual devotion. Trinada Visunichina, Tharori Baseshnana, Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadhati. One should be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant and forgiving than a tree, eager to offer all respect to others and to expect no respect for oneself. Only in this state of consciousness can one chant the names of the Lord constantly. Because Radharani and Krishna are not different than their names. It's a transcendental sound vibration. And they reciprocate according to the spirit of our devotion. When we have the qualities of this verse we just cited, Krishna is so pleased with our character, so pleased with the priorities that we have established in our life, that when we chant the names of Krishna, Krishna is manifested. We can experience Krishna's eternal transcendental form, his pastimes, his abode, his associates, his qualities, all in the holy names. Haridas Thakur personified this in every way. There's a place in Bangladesh of today. It's a village, Benapole. Have any of you ever been there? Years ago, I went there with His Holiness Indrajumna Swami Maharaj and a few brahmacharis. That is where he was just humbly living in a little forest. He had a tulsi plant growing in front of him, and he just chanted day and night. He would chant at least 195 rounds every day. 300,000 names a day. And one very aristocratic person, Hindu faith, Ramchandra was his name. He was envious of Haridas because Haridas was an outcast. He should not be seen, he should not be heard from. What does he know about the Vedas? But yet Haridas was so pure and so compassionate and so humble and so enlightened that people were coming to take guidance from him. And this was intolerable. This was intolerable to many. So he sent a prostitute to Haridas, especially to induce him to fall down from his morality so they could beat him, imprison him, and disgrace him publicly. And when she came in the middle of the night, very beautiful, Haridas just saw the spirit soul in her heart, and the spirit soul is what makes everything else beautiful. Many people are attracted to dead corpses, whatever they looked like before they died. But yet, without the soul, all the body is a dead corpse. It's the soul that gives life, beauty to the body. Because the soul's part of Krishna. Krishna is all attractive. The soul is beautiful. And you are a soul. Nothing this world, neither time, old age, either whatever your body may be beautiful now, but it won't last. It may not be, but that won't last either. What is real beauty? The soul. It's part of God. Haridas is seeing the beauty of the soul. And when you recognize the beauty of the soul in another person, you can't be envious. You can't be lusty. You can't be greedy. Just pure love of your own soul is inspired by encountering the soul of another. So Haridas, she came, was making so many proposals. He said, I will satisfy all of your desires, but I haven't completed my chanting. So please wait, and after I complete my chanting, I will satisfy your desires. What he didn't tell her is Kirtaniya Sadhati. He never finishes his chanting because he's always chanting. So he spent a whole night waiting, and then she came back the second night and waiting, and the third night waiting, and finally Haridas at the end of the night said, what can I do for you? And she said, let me be your disciple. I want to chant the holy names. Please initiate me into this chanting. I've lost all my material desires. Ramchandra sent me here to destroy you, and I came to destroy you, and now I just want to follow you. Haridas said, I know that Ramchandra sent you to destroy me. I was going to leave. I was going to leave 3 days ago. I only stayed 3 extra days only to give you Krishna. And he said, now you stay here. You can have my little kutir, my little hut, and you worship Tulsi and chant the holy names, and everything will be provided for you. And then he left. And seeing that such a notorious prostitute like become a saint, a pure devotee of the Lord. Haridas Thakur became even more famous. But then even more people wanted to destroy him. The ways of the world. And when he was living in Fuliagram, he was called by the king, and you were born of another religion, my religion. Why are you following somebody else's religion? Just follow your own religion, and we will let you go. He was arrested. The story goes he was arrested and put in jail. And all the prisoners in the jail, they were thinking, he's a great saint. If he blesses us, we might get out of jail. So they begged him for blessings. And Haridas said, I bless you that you remain the way you are. They were very disturbed by this blessing. They didn't say anything. They just looked really sad. And Haridas laughed. He said, actually, I'm giving you a good blessing. He said, right now you are looking at a person seeking God's blessings. What I'm saying is you should remain like this. The whole world is more or less a prison. We're imprisoned by time. Can you escape old age, disease, and death? And all the adhyatmikadi, daivakadi, bodhika, the miseries of the mind, the miseries of the body, the miseries of nature, they can come upon anybody at any time. But when we're truly seeking the blessings of saintly people, and we're truly willing to follow, that is the means by which the ultimate liberation of love for Krishna is accessible. Haridas said, very soon you will be free from prison, but always remain in this state you're in today, seeking the essence of bhakti. And when he was brought before the king and these very materialistic priests, he was told, follow your own religion, we'll let you go. But if you do this, what you're doing, talking about Krishna and bhakti and Vedas, then we will torture you and kill you. Haridas responded by laughing. He said, just see the power of Vishnu's Maya. There's only one God. He's the Supreme Father, Mother of all living beings, who's the source of everything that exists. He has many names, who has appeared in various religions in the world. He said, by God's grace, he has attracted me to his form of Krishna. And in my love for Krishna, I cannot stop chanting his holy names. I cannot stop sharing his mercy with others. If you cut my body into 10,000 pieces, every one of those little pieces will be chanting Hare Krishna. You can do whatever you like with me. So they said, beat him till he's dead. Publicly in the marketplaces. But they could. The whole time Haridas was just praying, please forgive these executioners and give them love of God. Please, Krishna. That is Haridas. And when Haridas Thakur was living later in Jagannath Puri, close to Lord Chaitanya, Haridas was not allowed in the temple because he was from another, because he had no caste. But Lord Chaitanya, who is Jagannath himself, would go into the temple every day for several hours, and every day he would get wonderful basket of Mahaprasad, food and garlands and other such sacred items. And he would come to the little garden where Haridas Thakur was living. In fact, Lord Chaitanya gave him that little garden, Sita Bakula. And Srila Prabhupada, he would love to explain that Haridas was not allowed in Lord Jagannath's temple, but every day in the form of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Jagannath came out of his temple specifically to give his prasad to Haridas. And Lord Chaitanya would spend several hours every day just chanting and speaking about Krishna with Haridas. Not only did Haridas have the highest ecstasy of love, receiving Lord Chaitanya's mercy, but Lord Chaitanya was receiving the greatest love by tasting the sweetness of Haridas's pure love. And two of the greatest acharyas, they were born in Saraswat Brahmin families, greatest scholars. They were chief, they were the prime minister and home minister of an entire kingdom. Fabulously wealthy, learned. They gave all that up so that they could completely absorb themselves in bhakti. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Most exalted. They wrote the most exalted literatures. They actually excavated and revealed Vrindavan to the world. Whenever Sanatana or Rupa Goswami came to Jagannath Puri, they would seek shelter of Haridas Thakur. They stayed in his little hut at Siddhavakula. They gave the utmost honor to Haridas and would stay with him for months and months and months at a time. And Lord Chaitanya would come every day to meet them. And when Thakur Haridas, one day, it's a beautiful story, he was not eating, and Lord Chaitanya got that message. He said, "Why are you not eating?" And Haridas said, I'm now very old. I can't complete the chanting of my name, of the holy names every day. So I'm in a spiritually ill condition. Lord Chaitanya said, "Now you're so old, you don't have to. You've already established this chanting throughout the whole world. Now you can reduce." And Haridas said, "Please hear my prayer." He wanted to leave this world with Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet on his heart, with his eyes seeing the beautiful moon-like face of Lord Chaitanya, and with his lips chanting Shri Krishna Chaitanya. You are the joy of my life. Haridas, he said, there are thousands and thousands of devotees who are fit to sit on my head. I'm insignificant. I'm low-born. I have so many sins. If in the entire creation, if one ant dies, what is the loss to the world? So what will be my loss if I die? And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he declared of Haridas, he's the crown jewel of the whole creation. Because of his love for Krishna, because of his deep humility and his devotion and his compassion. But to fulfill Haridas's desire, the next day Lord Chaitanya came with his associates and there was a wonderful kirtan. And Haridas took the dust of everybody's feet on his head, even though he's the Namacharya. And gazing at the beautiful face of Lord Chaitanya, like his eyes were like bumblebees on the lotus face of Lord Chaitanya, drinking the nectar. He gave up his life. The scripture says, just like Bhishma gave up his life willingly in the presence of Krishna. And how much Lord Chaitanya loved Haridas. He lifted his body crying and began dancing with it. And personally, Lord Chaitanya performed the last rites for Haridas. And personally, Lord Chaitanya begged shop to shop in order to have a feast in honor of Haridas. And he had everyone chanting, Haridas Thakur ki jai. And at the conclusion of this beautiful story, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he writes that this beautiful story was exhibited by Lord Chaitanya to show the nature of a devotee's love for the Lord and the nature of the Lord's love for the devotee. Raj Mohan, I spoke that because you told me to. That day, the anniversary of the disappearance of Haridas was just yesterday. And today, Bhadra Purnima. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a beautiful benediction that anyone who gives a gift of the Srimad Bhagavatam to another on Bhadra Purnima is supremely blessed with Krishna's mercy and Krishna's love. Our dear God brother Vaisheshika Prabhu has inspired thousands and thousands and thousands of people all over the world to give gifts of the Srimad Bhagavatam, a set of Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam on this day. So I encourage you, it's the most auspicious opportunity to be blessed, to get the mercy of the Lord and please the Lord by giving as a gift the Srimad Bhagavatam. And don't think it's too late, because if you have the intention of doing it today, and then you do it tomorrow or the next day, you get benefits. And it is Vishwarup Mahotsava, the day Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's elder brother Vishwarup left his home and became a sannyasi. And on this day, today, Bhadra Purnima, Vishwarup Mahotsava, our beloved Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, accepted the order of sannyas in 1959. Srila Prabhupada he was born in a family of pure devotees of Krishna. Yesterday in Boston, one of Srila Prabhupada's very dear assistants, servants, Shruti Kirti Prabhu, was giving a talk at the Radha Gopi Vallabha temple. And he described how someone asked Srila Prabhupada, when did you first was there ever a time, or when did you first remember Krishna? And Srila Prabhupada said, I can never think of a moment in my whole life when I was not thinking of Krishna. He said, my father, Gaur Mohande, and his mother, he said they were pure devotees of Krishna. And they had deities of Radha Govinda. And from Prabhupada's earliest childhood, every morning he saw his parents worshiping Radha Govinda. With so much love. And Srila Prabhupada gave so much appreciation and credit to his parents for giving that example. They didn't push him, they didn't force him. They were just examples of pure devotees. So Srila Prabhupada encouraged all sincere devotees in family life should have a beautiful little temple in their home and sincerely, faithfully offer puja to the temple. Chant the holy names, serve Vaishnavas and sadhus, and that example will bring such a samskara to the children. Or either immediately or gradually, the joy, the pure joy of being of Krishna consciousness is within the heart. In 1922, he first met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, his guru. Srila Prabhupada described many times how at the time he was 25 years old. He was a very staunch follower of Mahatma Gandhi's movement for British independence from the British. And when he came on that rooftop in Calcutta, where he was brought to meet this saintly person, according to custom, Srila Prabhupada and his friend Narendra, they bowed down. And just as they were getting up, Srila Saraswati Thakur, he spoke to them. He looked at Srila Prabhupada and said, you are an intelligent young man. You should take the message of Lord Chaitanya and spread it all over the world in the English language. Srila Prabhupada, just a couple of years before, got married, and just a year before had his first son. And now he's asked to take the message of Lord Chaitanya all over the world. He said, who who's going to listen to people from India when we are still subjugated by the British? First, we should get independence. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he stated that these political parties are always changing. Who rules, who doesn't rule, in this material world is always changing. But there's one thing that is forever, eternal. That we are not this body, we are the eternal soul. And we have an eternal loving relationship with God, with Krishna. And the only true goal of life, the only real happiness for the soul is to awaken our love for Krishna. This message is urgent. It cannot wait for any external material adjustment. It's urgent. Srila Prabhupada would say, I am very happy to tell you I was defeated by my Guru. And he said, at that moment on that rooftop, he accepted his Guru. He accepted Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as his eternal father and spiritual master. Not officially, but in his heart. But how to take the message of Lord Chaitanya to the whole world? Nobody has ever done it. And if some of Srila Prabhupada's very elevated senior godbrothers were sent to London and Germany to try to do it, but they came back with hardly any results. When Srila Prabhupada was preparing himself, he still took care of his family with all responsibility. But along with working and raising his family, he began Back to Godhead magazine. He would write the articles. He would edit the articles. He would get the paper. He would go out and buy the paper. Usually he didn't have money to buy the paper. He would get, it's on consignment. And he was the only one distributing those Back to Godhead magazines. And later on, he was living in Prayagraj. He was initiated in 1933, at the time of Kumbh Mela. And Srila Prabhupada would get recurring dreams of his Guru telling him, you should take sannyas and spread this message all over the world. And when he got older, he very responsibly, he retired from his family life and he started living in Jhansi and then Vrindavan. And this dream was happening again and again. His Guru was coming and saying, come and take sannyas and spread this message all over the world. And Srila Prabhupada, he told us he would think, how horrible to leave everything else. But some of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers, who were his very loving, dear friends, they were encouraging him. And the anniversary of today, the full moon of the month of Bhadra, Srila Prabhupada and the Keshava Gaudiya Math in Mathura, he accepted sannyas. for his own liberation, for our liberation. And it's really interesting because the day he took sannyas on today anniversary, everyone in that temple room was either Bengali or Hindi speaking Brijvasis. And all the ceremony was in Sanskrit and Hindi and Brijvas. And all the talks were. And after Srila Prabhupada took sannyas, he was given the name A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. He was asked to speak, and he gave his lecture in English, even though there was hardly anybody there that knew English, because that's why he took sannyas, to teach Lord Chaitanya's message in the English language. That was the order of his Guru Maharaj. And he had no money, nothing, no means. He was just staying in a little room at one time at Bamsi Gopal. And now, when he took sannyas, he had little rooms in Radha Damodar Temple. Day and night, he was praying for mercy, empowerment. Day and night, he was translating and taking the commentaries of all the great acharyas and distilling them into his own purports with his realizations. He went to Bombay to beg one great lady, Sumati Mukherjee, who was actually the leading trustee of the Srinathji temple in Nathdwar in the Pushti Marg. She had very, very deep devotion to Krishna. And she had such high respect for Srila Prabhupada. He said, you are owning a navigation company with cargo ships. Give me a free passage to New York City. She said, no, I will not do this. You are too old. At the time he was about 70 years old, 69. He said, it's very cold, and I have been to America. No one will listen to your message. You will die. I will not take this responsibility. But Srila Prabhupada was so determined to risk his life out of compassion. After being refused again and again and again, he sat on the steps of her office and wouldn't leave until he got a ticket. She would send a secretary out to him with food and water. He said, after I get my ticket. So she gave. He took a mail train. Mail means the slowest train that they send the postal mail. He went to Calcutta. And then he went to Mayapur Dham, where he begged for the mercy of his guru at Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's Samadhi. He stopped in Shantipur and begged for Advaitacharya's mercy. And then he had his youngest son, Vrindavan Day, bring him to the Jaladuta, a very old cargo ship. I spoke with Vrindavan Chandra Day about that many times, actually. He said when he boarded the ship, with his father. There was a delay in it starting its voyage. So he sat there in this little simple room. It wasn't a passenger ship, so there was really no place for passengers. It was a cargo ship. Everyone was just bringing huge crates and boxes. Sailors. But when the horn blew and the ship was starting to move, he had to leave, and he said, "I knew I'll never see my father again. He will never survive." He cried, took dust from his father's feet. Srila Prabhupada embraced him, and the ship left the King George dockyards of Calcutta. And the ship sailed down past Cape Comorin or Kanyakumari, up the west coast to Cochin, where it stopped, and the cases of Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam's boarded there. They were carried on. And his 69th birthday and Janmashtami were celebrated on the Jaladuta. And we know stories at the beginning of the journey in the Arabian Sea. He got severe seasickness, and then he had 2 devastating heart attacks. No medical aid. But he was grateful because he was given the opportunity to endure whatever may come to fulfill the desire of his Guru Maharaj. As a messenger of Lord Chaitanya's compassion, what an honor. And after about 36 days, or 37 days actually, the Jaladuta stopped in Boston. And that is where Srila Prabhupada wrote those beautiful prayers. And that's where he first touched his lotus feet upon the soils of America. Then he boarded the ship again, and on the 38th day it arrived in New York City, in a harbor, and he came off the Jaladuta. He didn't know anyone. He didn't have anything. But he had the beautiful instructions of his Guru. He had the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he had the holy name of Krishna. On Bhadra Purnima, Srila Prabhupada accepted sannyas simply to facilitate his giving to all of us and to the whole world the opportunity to receive the highest perfection of life. Prema Pumartaman, ecstatic love for God, pure love for Krishna. So this is a special day to remember what Haridas Thakur actually in Srila Prabhupada's diary when he was in New York. I think he explained how he was invited to someone's apartment and he played a tape of himself chanting Hare Krishna, and it was like 5 people that came, and he wrote in his diary, they liked it. He said they liked it. So now I know Haridas Thakur's prediction will be fulfilled. Thank you, Pyari Mohan Prabhu, and thank you, Jiva Devi, for carrying on this great mission of compassion. And I'm so grateful to each of you for coming this evening. Thank you.
Holiness, Radhanath Swami Maharaj ki.
Next weekend is the 60th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada arriving in Boston. And they're having a wonderful festival. I'm sure you all know about it even better than me. But there'll be about 50 of Srila Prabhupada disciples there and meeting devotees from various parts of the world. And they'll be sharing memories and celebrating Srila Prabhupada's arrival. And they're also, I think they're going on a voyage on a ship. To honor Srila Prabhupada's voyage. So I will be there next week. If you're there, I will be very happy to